Hi, welcome to the Whiska Chicks podcast. My name is Amy.
And I'm Amy's sister, Susie.
We are going to be talking to you about Whiska Chicks. You may ask yourself, what in the world is a Whiska Chick? Well, it's a term our Nana, our grandmother, used to describe anything and everything, like a doodad or a thingamajig.
For our purposes today, Amy and I have framed Whiska Chicks as those random moments in life that accumulate over time that compel us to grow, learn, and evolve. Whether it's good, bad, ugly, funny, or sad, with each Whiska Chick comes a lesson, an aha moment, a lotus blooming from the mud and muck, resulting in wisdom and healing.
Whiska Chicks have brought us both to a place in our lives where we love ourselves and speak our truths. The last thing Nana said to me before she passed on was, "Be true to yourself, little A." That was the nickname she had for me. The angel spoke straight through her in that moment, and I knew I had quite a journey ahead of me. It was that Whiska Chick, the last Whiska Chick she delivered, that set me off on an incredible growth journey. She is the force behind this creative endeavor. We dedicate every Whiska Chick to her. We're grateful you're here.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Whiska Chicks podcast. I'm Susie.
And I'm Amy.
And we are back to discuss another yet riveting life topic. And so today is Valentine's Day. And so we thought it would be a good idea to talk about love, but in the sense of the most important love, which is self-love.
Yes, definitely. They say that the most important relationship you'll ever have in your lifetime is the one with yourself. So while we spend Valentine's Day celebrating our partners, our spouses, our kids, whoever else we love in our lives, we just want to talk a little bit about loving yourself.
Yeah, which I feel like in this day and age, we get very distracted from doing that. Like we like to think we all give a lot of love, outward to people and to pets and whatever, just in our daily life. But, at the end of the day, like, are you filling your own cup? Are you making sure like the love for you is, are you giving that same amount of love back to yourself? And, it's funny that, you and I didn't really start focusing on self-love until just a small handful of years ago, because we basically have spent our life, with a lot of trauma and stuff from growing up, and, maybe not having a very healthy view of even what love is in general, right? So it's like, how can you be love to everyone and everything outward to the world when you don't even give that love to yourself, right?
Exactly.
And that shit doesn't happen overnight.
No, it's hard because traditionally, we've been raised to take care of others before ourselves. And, there's nothing wrong with that. But I think the focus on self-love hasn't really gotten much bandwidth until recently anyway. Just because traditionally it's just been about others. And I think we're getting burnt out, and we need to start focusing some of that effort on ourselves, taking care of ourselves, like you said, filling our cup, that sort of thing. But in addition to that, I think it's also important to look at self-love as how we look at ourselves, how we judge ourselves, how we talk to ourselves, how we talk about our bodies, our perfectly imperfect flaws. And because you're a spirit in a vessel. The vessel was God-given, and we have to take care of that vessel. We have to love it, and it hears everything we say about it, good, ugly, positive, negative, whatever. So I think negative self-talk needs to be identified also and turned around into something more positive.
Yeah, I really I personally really struggle with negative self-talk, especially in terms of like my weight. I mean, that's something that I've always struggled with since probably puberty. Because as you remember, I was sickly thin until then, and something
Yeah.
took over. Something in nature just took over by storm, and it's been literally 40 plus years of medical anomalies and stuff like that. So I my scars are my stories, but I really do try to remember when I look at myself in the mirror that it's not that what you say, the vessel. Here's the difference between you and me. I call it like the meat suit. My meat suit, like if you unzip that bitch and stepped out of it, like the soul inside of it. I know this is why you're way more profound than I am, but the soul that is inside of my meat suit is just this, oh man, just young, vibrant, athletic, just badass. And I have to remind myself, well, Susie, if that's how your soul is, then then the outside shouldn't matter. You know what I mean? You should be seeing the soul. You should be seeing what's inside the meat suit. So, or the vessel. Sorry. A vessel sounds better. Meat suit.
The meat suit sounds like something what's his name? Buffalo Bill in
Well, that's
Silence of
pretty
the
much
Lambs.
It's pretty much what he was making.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
What are you, about a size 14? That was a really good reference. But but it's true, like self-deprecating remarks, they sometimes they can come out of our mouths like water. As a matter of fact, my boss at work, like, I won't even know that I'm doing it, and I'll just say something that I think is quite benign, and she's just like, self-deprecating, like, from across the room. I'm like, damn it, I did that again, didn't I? Like, I get a demerit for that. But you have to realize too, like, when you talk like that about yourself, that self-deprecating negative self-talk, like, all your angels and guides and ancestors are like, what the hell are you doing? That's not
Yeah.
that's not what we're here to cheer you on for. That's bullshit. Like, they don't support that. The universe does not support you talking like that. And the truth is, what it's like, that threefold law, right? What you put out comes back to you 3 times, right? So don't put out the crap. But it's hard. It is really hard sometimes.
It is. And in today's day with social media, I think it makes it even harder. I mean, back when we were growing up, when did cell phones come out? In the early 90s, mid 90s?
I think there were still dinosaurs.
I think I had my first cell phone that looked like a brick in 96, I think, 95, 96. But it's the biggest difference today is social media. We are just bombarded with seeing what so many people, not just in your immediate circle, but around the world, are doing. And it provides this perfect platform to compare ourselves to others. And, we're seeing someone who's prettier, fitter, fits into these jeans when I don't, and wrinkles and gray hair. And, it's just nuts. And you start to go like, well, I don't look like that. Well, I want to look like that. Well, and then I think the term is you get grammed, especially if the person, the influencer, whoever you're looking at, is selling something. I don't know how many times I've gotten grammed when I'm like, oh, I'm going to try that, some sort of wrinkle cream or cellulite cream or something like that. Maybe it'll work for me. But social media just provides this platform to have a whole plethora of things to compare ourselves to. And that's when the judgment starts. I need to be better. I need to look better. I need to this and that, so it's like, how can we look at social media and just kind of skirt over something and going, oh, well, good for her. I'm this. I accept myself the way I am.
Way to go. It reminds me of A League of Their Own when he's like, way to go, whatever your name is. Yeah. You know, it's funny you say that because, like, so often, you know, I don't know how the algorithms of social media work, but like, you know, I think it's like if you watch something for a certain amount of time, like it knows, like this creeps me out, and so you'll get like a lot of similar content
Instantly.
yeah, it's really weird. And there's been so many things that I'm like, you know, and here I hear my naturopath being like, there is no magic bullet. Not that he sounds like that, but and if you, I'll every time like I'll go and I'll read the comments under something that I guess I'm trying to be grammed by. They're trying to suck me into the gramming. Um, I'll read the comments and people are like, "This is total bullshit." Blah blah blah, not true. Blah blah blah. But I mean, some of it is legit. But you know, I just try to avoid a lot of those things. You know, I remember seeing this thing for toothpaste recently. I won't say the brand name of it, but it was like some, you know, they claim like, oh, you know, you're saving, you know, dolphins and plastic and penguins and all this stuff from me, you know, and it's all natural ingredients and blah blah blah. And then like you'll read the comments and someone's like, so what's that blah 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 phosphate number 80? Is that saving the dolphins? Like people get in the comments and they're like, yeah, not so cool now, are you? So I mean, you really have to do your homework and your research if you're, you know, gonna invest in something. And you know, but I'm really trying to lean into this self-love thing like more organically as we're getting older. You and I are both in our 50s now, and you know, very much in the eat pray love frame of mind.
Yep.
And you know, like I look in the mirror and I'm like, I get so many compliments on my gray hair. And you know, just this letting things just happen to you, like this is how nature intended me to age. Like, I mean, truthfully, if we're being very spiritual, you are exactly how you are supposed to be right now, right? I mean, am I
Yeah.
making that up?
No.
So
Nope.
anything outside of that, like, you know, if, let's say I look at myself in the mirror and I tried, here comes the vortex of, you know, you're fat, you're old, blah, 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 you know, none of that gets me any movement forward. None of that gives me any love for self. But I do have the power to try to change that and ask for help, you know, from my angels and guides and spirit universe, whatever, in guiding me to that or showing me the way, you know. But it really is a mind over matter thing. That's what all of this is. Like your mind wants to look in the mirror and be like, you're this, you're that, you're blah blah blah. And then your heart and your soul just sink, right? So why would we ever do that to ourselves? I mean, you are all you have in this life. You're born alone, you die alone. Your soul is here on a mission and a journey, as we've talked about. I'm on a tangent now, especially in the Dharma episode, the North and South Node, the Dharma thing. Like, you know, you're not here by chance. Like this was all part of it, all part of your soul's journey. So why would you be unkind and not loving to that soul, no matter what? No matter what the cost, even if it cost you friends, family, partner, whatever, then, you know, you're better off without them if they don't
Yeah.
support that self-love.
Yeah. I want to kind of go back a few episodes where we referenced Louise Hay's book, You Can Heal Your Life. The premise of that book is based on kind of how you talk to yourself. I mean, it's full of affirmations for illnesses, sicknesses, conditions, whatever, feelings, pains, aches and pains, or as we talked about, hemorrhoids, you know, that sort of thing. But, you know, it's the same principle. If you give yourself positive self affirmations, you can heal your body. So why not? Why do we judge and not give the self love that we should give then? You know, if we know that positive self talk, no matter what it's directed at, whether it's a certain part of the body or just yourself in general or whatever, I mean, our genes, our body, they hear it, and it's taken me so long, and I'm not perfect at this. I mean, there are days I wake up and I look at my cellulite and I go, oh God, so, and then I try to just flip it around and say, nope, you know what? My cellulite is on my legs, but I have two legs that carry me every day. They help me. I walk, I do yoga, so thank you, legs. I try not to, I try to flip the mindset around because I'm really bad at it. What are you laughing at?
Thank you, legs, for not being smooth and supple.
Thank you for all those dimples.
I could make ice cubes on the backs of my legs. I can tell you that right now. Stick those bitches in the freezer.
It ain't easy being cheesy.
Mm-mm.
But it's true. I mean, it's like, especially if, like, I consider myself, I take good care of my body. I always have. I mean, I would say 80 to 90% of the time I eat very clean. I don't drink. I don't have caffeine. I don't smoke. I move my body. So, I'm to the point now where nothing's really happening. I mean, I've put on postmenopausal weight and all that, but I'm getting to the point where I'm over focusing on the fact that I've put on postmenopausal weight. Maybe, like you said a few minutes ago, maybe this is just where my body is now, and I need to embrace it and just take care of it. No, as long as I know that I'm eating well, moving it, and resting it, then I'm doing what I need to do, and then whatever happens, right? Because it just gets exhausting, and it really, you can put that energy elsewhere. It's important. I'm finding more and more how important it is not to judge yourself and not to participate in that negative self-talk.
Oh yeah, not to participate in, and also, like, if you're getting negative self-talk from someone around you, to filter that and immediately put up a boundary with that person, like, be like, you're not good for me. I mean, it's different. Like, my friend will look at me and she'll be like, God, Susie, you need a freaking haircut. And I'll be like, yeah, I know. Cause I mean, she's right. Like, it's been months. I need a haircut. Absolutely. And it's another to be like, what kind of muffin is that muffin top? I mean, it just depends, like, on the person saying it, I guess. But, I hear people at work all the time, like, especially if, a customer says something, you're like, oh my God, here we go. And I realize, like, that's negative self-talk. Like, where is that coming from? Why is that being triggered? Like, I'm not that person, like, why would I talk negatively about someone else when, I don't do that with myself? I don't know if that makes sense. It's like, it's conflicting to me, and I catch myself doing that all the time.
Yeah.
And maybe that's because I work with people, that were kind of in the same boat, whatever. I'm not going to go on that tangent, but, I just, the song rings in my head. There's a George Michael song called Heal the Pain. And there's a line in the song where he just says, be good to yourself, because nobody else has the power to make you happy. And that, I hear that in my head so often, because, at this point in my life, I've had an incredible life, and I'm so grateful just to be here another day, every day that I wake up. And I now know, I didn't know this, not even like 6 years ago, that I am fine by myself. Like, I love having people in my life that I love, but now I've gotten a taste of what it's like to focus on no one but me. My dog crossed the Rainbow Bridge a few years ago, and she took a lot of my energy and focus because she was a rescue, and I would never change 1 second of that, because she changed my life and helped me break all my karmic contracts. Ironically, the dog's name was Karma. That was unplanned. But I'm just saying, like, when you strip away everything and then you're just you, like, in your daily life. And this is how it's been for me for about 3 years now, where it's just me. I have a plant that's hard to kill. That's the only other living thing that I have that I'm responsible for other than myself. And I have to tell you, like, I am so unbelievably happy with just taking care of me. And I know that I'm fortunate, but I also know that there's people like that really want to be around a lot of people, like to have, friends, family, kids, pet, like have a lot of that in their lives. But for me, I don't know, maybe it's our childhood stuff. Maybe I'm recouping some stuff from childhood. I don't know, but I'm quite content just doing my thing. And, knowing that at any moment, like I could make a change and no one would really be affected, and also not worrying about that, just doing what's best for yourself.
Yeah, I think the universe has granted you the opportunity to spend time on yourself in the second half of your life. You've been through so much physically. We've referenced our childhood here and there, but I know I feel this from time to time where just my spirit is tired and it just needs my
spirit needs a vacay.
It does. It needs a vacay.
Vacay every day.
But it's everybody needs to take a moment and just ask yourself if yourself is taken care of, and that's not selfish to do that. I think we all need to be a little bit more selfish in this world, especially, I don't want to exclude men here, but women, I think in particular, experience this more. I mean, back in the Leave It to Beaver days, Brady Bunch days, the wife or the woman stayed home. Her job was to just take care of the kids, the house, the family, and that's hard work in and of itself. But then, you fast forward a few decades and, the woman works full time. She takes care of the family, the pets, the house, the everything. And so then becomes the question, when does she take care of herself? So I think women tend to experience a lot of this lack of self-love more than men do. Although men and women equally, I mean, it's still necessary for both genders. But I think that women in particular, we have taken on so much. And then pretty soon we're in our 40s and our 50s and we're going, whoa, what happened? Where did life go? What about me? When do I get to take care of me? I
wonder if that comes from like, you talking about male, female, not to exclude men, but it is a fact that, women just naturally have that nurture, right? Mm-hmm. And men are more nature, I think, right? And if that's safe to say, but you talk about the stages of a woman's life, right? And so you and I technically would be, I guess, entering the crone years, right? Which, hey, I'm proud of. But, moving away from being that nurturing, mother and stuff like that motherly feeling or, to raise the kids, which, by the way, sidebar, at least Carol Brady had Alice to take some of the restraints off. I feel like she parented the kids more than Carol did, but June Cleaver was screwed. She took it all on. But
she only had 2 kids.
That's true. And they were boys. But, I just feel like, we talk about Ayurveda a lot on here because it's something that is very close to you, Amy, because you practice Ayurveda, you're studying Ayurveda. And, it is, I think we were talking about this a while ago, like in the Ayurveda world, like it is, we are in that part of our life where naturally, like we just start slowing down, right? And chilling.
Yeah. And some cultures honor that. They want women to slow down. And there are some cultures, especially in India, where women, this is the most beautiful time of their life. They feel beautiful. They feel like complete. You know, they've worked hard through their what they call the Pitta years, and now they're in their Vata time, and it's a beautiful thing. It's celebrated in some cultures. And here it's just like the whip just keeps cracking. Keep working until you're this old, you know, so that you can recoup Social Security and, you know, draw from your retirement, and then and that's if you have those things, if you're lucky. Some women have to, and men both, have to work well into their 70s to survive in the US. I mean, it's just, anyway, that's a whole other podcast.
Yeah, you got it in there.
I got it in there.
Yeah.
But I digress. But I guess, you know, really just kind of bringing it back full circle on this Valentine's Day. We really want people to step back and ask themselves if they are giving themselves enough self-love. Because we live in a very fast-paced society. There's a lot expected of us, men and women alike. We do so much. Are we taking time for ourselves to love ourselves? Are we making sure that we're not judging ourselves, comparing ourselves, and just being kind, using kind words with ourselves and our bodies, and meeting ourselves where we're at, acceptance. So I think it's important to take a look at that. I smell homework coming.
Oh, I can smell it and feel it. But so I'm gonna put a link to an article that I subscribe to, this Ayurveda website called The Joyful Belly. They're pretty cool. They've got a lot of recipes and helpful articles and stuff like that. This one article came across the other day before yesterday, I think, and it's actually what spawned the idea for this podcast. And ironically, you know, like I think we mentioned before, you and I are not big Valentine's people, but you know, the article, the gist of it is basically that normally, you know, people will make like a list of positive attributes about themselves and focus on that while ignoring like the things that you want to work on or the things that you're challenged with. And so the article challenges that idea of loving yourself, being like, oh, I love myself because I'm this and that and blah, blah, blah. This is more focusing on like, you know, what about adopting and loving the things that you don't love about yourself or that maybe you want to change? And I think that to balance yourself, that's critical, because we all have positive attributes. Even people that are horrible in the world have positive attributes. You know, you can't be all bad. So, you know, I thought that it's not a long read. It's literally like a 2 to 3 minute read. I will try to link up that article successfully in the podcast footnotes, just for you all to read. But not that I'm assigning homework, because you have to do that officially, because this is something that I want to work on for myself, because truthfully I have big opportunities at loving the bad part. Well, they're not even bad, but just the things that aren't like, you know, you're smart, you're funny, you're hot. No, I'm just kidding. Anyway, yeah.
Yeah, it's been a real challenge for me since I've been postmenopausal, that's for sure. And I can certainly get better at it. I've been trying to practice it. So I guess, are we ready to assign homework?
Oh, we're totally ready.
Okay, cool. So Whiskachik homework for self-love. I want everybody to go look at yourself in the mirror and think of 3 things that you love about yourself, and say it directly to your reflection in the mirror. And then tell you to yourself, if that makes sense, how grateful you are for your body and what it does for you on a day-to-day basis. So everybody think of three things that they appreciate and love about themselves, and tell it to yourself.
I love that's awesome. That's probably my favorite homework that you've given.
Really? You've said that before.
Have I?
I don't know. I'm just
then I'm a liar. Maybe that's one of the bad things I need to focus on.
No.
My memory isn't what it used to be, but anyway, how about if it put it in the top 5 that you've done? We'll just say that to save face, but
Okay.
anyway, so we're going to end it here for this episode, and we obviously are extremely grateful that you all are out there and listening to us, and happy that you're with us on this journey. We love all of you for that, so there we go. Anyway, we always end the podcast by, what would old Nana say?
Be true to yourself.